Welcome to Step 4 of the MCC, Military Benefits. The military offers many benefits at reduced or no cost to you. The value of these can vary greatly depending on how frequently you use the available services at your installation. This step might take some time to work through, but it's important to do so methodically and assign realistic values that you would place on these benefits. This way, you get a full picture of your military compensation, given your unique circumstances. Let's take a look. Okay, this is step 4 of the MCC interface, the military benefits. The first set of benefits we talk about is healthcare and health insurance costs. This can vary greatly. In the military, we have TRICARE Prime, which is no cost to the service member, and usually zero or minimal cost for your dependents if you have any. This is usually not the case outside the military. Healthcare usually costs something at a civilian employer. This cost can vary greatly. You have insurance premiums and also out-of-pocket expenses. However, if you are retiring from the military, you may qualify for TRICARE for Life, which is like $200 or $400 per year, if I'm not mistaken. Alternatively, you could join the Guard or Reserve, and you might qualify for TRS, which is TRICARE Reserve Select, that offers very reasonable coverage for you or your family. Or if you're disabled, if you're qualified for VA disability, you may be able to go to the VA for your health care, for some or for all of it, at no cost to you. So healthcare scenarios can vary greatly depending on the service member and your unique your circumstances. So keep that in mind when you estimate these things. To help you along, if you are in a position to need to purchase healthcare, I've got a few resources here. These are either government or nonprofit websites to get you more educated on healthcare. Just you can read these over at your leisure. But the big thing with healthcare is that it just varies greatly. It's not very transparent. So to get a feel for what you might spend on this, you could ask your family and friends what they spend on healthcare insurance premiums and out-of-pocket expenses. Or if you have a civilian job already lined up, you can ask them directly, how much are your premiums? So at least you know the answer for this. For this example, we're going to leave the premiums at $0. However, for the out-of-pocket costs, and these are all things that you have to pay on top of paying the monthly premium if you're in that situation. They could be called co-pays, co-insurance, deductibles. Each plan is different, so you need to educate yourself on all these things healthcare-wise, because unless you have one of those few circumstances, it probably won't be free to you. So for here, we're going to estimate that this Air Force captain and his spouse and 2 kids are going to spend $100 per month on out-of-pocket healthcare costs. Next category is the child care subsidy. So if you use the on-installation or even off-installation facilities, the CDC, the FCC, or you get some other kind of fee assistance for using a local economy child care facility, we have to take into account that subsidy here. So in the DC area here, child care is pretty expensive. It's between maybe $1,600 and even $2,000 per month per child, depending on where you go. So there's that fee chart with the 14 or 15 steps that you get from the CDC to determine your out-of-pocket costs for child care. So it takes into account your whole family income. So you have to look at that chart and see how much you currently pay for child care. Let's say you pay $1,200 per month per child care, or this captain would, for his 2 small children. But he knows that when he gets out in DC area, it costs $1,800 per child. That's a $600 difference per kid that he's going to have to pay now out of pocket in addition to what he currently pays. So with that example of $600 per month per child, we'll do $1,200 per month total for the subsidy. At least this is until his kids get older enough to go to school and that kind of thing. But this could represent a sizable benefit, especially if you're lower on that fee chart, because this alone here for 2 small children is $14,400, and that's after-tax dollars. The next section is retirement match. This is only if you're enrolled in the BRS, the Blended Retirement System. So if you are in the BRS, you automatically get a 1% contribution into your TSP account, and the BRS matches up to 4% of your contributions, dollar for dollar. So I always highly recommend people, if you can swing it financially, to invest that 4%, because that immediately doubles your investment. So this defaults, if you put no, it doesn't apply, but if you put yes, it defaults to the full 4% match. If you're not able to 4% match, then you'll have to reduce this down to whatever you do actually contribute. But for this example, we're going to assume that this captain here does contribute the full 4% match, so he gets that 4% from the BRS. The last section is all the other benefits we get as military folks. These are BX, PX, NEX privileges, fitness facilities, access to fitness coaches, legal financial advice, so tax preparation or JAG to complete your will. So all these things have varied values that you could use, because you might use these benefits a lot, or you might not use them at all. One thing to keep in mind for the BX, PX, NEX is they do not charge sales tax on those places. So that already is like a 5 or 8% savings for you, depending on the sales tax for the local economy or wherever you're going to live. So you may have to assign a value for gym access because you want to have access to a gym, or maybe where you're moving has a free community center, or you have your own gym, so you wouldn't pay out of pocket for a gym. And one more category is the MWR and ITT. So if you rent camping equipment or other equipment, or you go on their trips that they sponsor, or if you get the reduced or free tickets through ITT, you have to think about how often you use those each month and what value you might use them. So you'll have to pay full price once you leave the military. You won't have access to these anymore, but you might not go to all those tickets or all those concerts if the tickets are full price. So you have to do some thinking and assign some values to each of these things of what's reasonable value to you. For this captain, I'm going to put in $300 per month of monthly benefits. That concludes step 4. Let's go on to the summary, step 5.